So I'm Rob.
I'm Wendy.
So am I starting?
Yep.
So this was a special deal for us because it was the first purchase we made as real estate investors, although it wasn't the first project we completed. We bought it to rehab, and it was brought to us by our realtor team. It was an estate sale that had gone bad. The son had a contract on the house, and the day of closing, the buyers walked away, so he was from out of town, and he was ready to leave. It was the week before Thanksgiving, and he basically wanted to unload the house. So we went and looked through it. We thought it was going to be a great deal. So, and he was highly motivated because he wanted to unload it. He had a price in mind, and we did the deal. It happened very quickly. Like I said, the Friday before Thanksgiving, we saw it. By the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, the contract was hard. We had done our inspection. We had the contract in place. And by the Friday, a week later, we had closed on the deal.
So walking into the house was really like walking into a time warp. It was built in the early 60s, but these people had lived in there since about 1969. And nothing had changed in that time except accumulation of dirt. And they smoked in the house the whole time. So it was quite a mess. And we got the house with all the contents. So, yeah.
Had a big estate sale.
The exterior scope, we did some minor repairs, and then, of course, repainting and landscaping. And the interior, we basically painted twice to deal with the smoke, and new laminate floors, light fixtures, fans, devices.
And then one of the physical changes we made to the house, the after slide on the left, that's the front door. And when you originally walked in, there was a bookcase in the living room. And so you walked into the front door, and there was a wall in front of you, and then you turned and you walked into the house. So it was kind of odd. So we took the bookcase out, cut a hole in the wall, put a granite little top there. Now you walk in, you can see through to the dining room and actually to the backyard. Brings a lot more light into that corner of the living room, and it just made it feel a lot more open. One of the big items was completely redoing the kitchen. There were some odd conditions, like a door from the master bathroom into the kitchen right there next to the wall oven, so that's a little weird. The toilet was right there. There were soffits, as you can imagine, from this vintage house, and there were cabinets, a whole cabinet wall between the kitchen and the dining room. So it was quite closed off. So we opened up that, took all the soffits out, opened up the cabinet wall to the dining room, took the door out into the master bathroom, and reconfigured the kitchen. And this is a view from the other angle. We put a large peninsula counter with like a breakfast bar facing the dining room, so it makes it a nice, large, open countertop. And then also added a large pantry cabinet and kind of built out a false corner so that we could reconfigure the kitchen and move the refrigerator and make it a little more functional. This is the master bath. So the right-hand picture, you can see the door that went into the kitchen. Again, really weird. And it made for a very small vanity, and you walked by the pink toilet. So we gutted that, took out the door, could put in a nice large vanity, nice mirror, new toilet, and then also ripped out the shower stall in the next slide. We tore out the whole wall and all the tile and everything, and opened up the shower, did floor-to-ceiling tile, new glass enclosure, and so that turned out really nice. There was also an existing skylight in the bathroom that was pretty dirty and didn't let much light in, so we cleaned that up, and it's quite a nice little bathroom now.
And the hall bathroom, we reglazed the tub and the tile, and of course, new vanity mirror and all that, and a new tile floor, and a new not pink toilet.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but the tub was pink, the wall tile was pink, and the toilet was pink. So pink was like big in the 40s, I guess. or I mean in the early 60s.
And we replaced the entire AC system, including ductwork, and replumbed, electrical upgrades, attic insulation.
So on the financials, the purchase price was 1015. It was about 50 cents on the dollar. We did have a projected ARV and an estimated rehab in our pro forma. Ultimately, we ended up spending about $6,000 more on the rehab. Had about 20, and so it was almost 47,500 on the rehab. Had $21,000 of closing costs, first and second closing, plus our holding costs, and so our total expenses were $170,000. We ended up selling it for $204,000. We had a contract price of $207,500 that we got within about 6 days of listing, but then we got to the appraisal. It was a VA financing, and the appraisal was low, and so we ended up negotiating down a little bit, but still got a really good price for the house and got above appraisal. And then made 34 on it. So that's the deal. Yeah.
Ernesto asked, how much rehab time does he have?
Yeah, so we held the house for 8 months total, but the rehab took about 3.5 or 4 because of the extent of the rehab. And we were, even though this was the first house we bought 2 houses last December, like right at the same time. And we decided to focus on the other one first because it was a little easier job. So we held it a little longer just because we had 2 rehabs going and there was a lot of work to do. But it was about 8 full months.
Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah. So we have a line of credit that we use to do our rehabs. So we just borrow the money from ourselves and pay ourselves back. But the interest that we pay ourselves was in that holding cost amount. 3.5. Yep.
We have a question over here. Is there anything specifically that you over budgeted in your rehab?
Oh, that we went over budget. I think part of it was we, because this was early in our investment career, we weren't estimating the rehab as well as we should. So some things were just more expensive. It was more about what we had budgeted and what the realities were. But there were some things like the air conditioning system was more because we ended up tearing out all the ductwork because of the smoking. And you know, the whole electrical system, we ended up having to replumb the house. We did a lot of electrical upgrades. So there were some scopes that we determined along the way that were a little more extensive. But for the most part, you know, we only about 15% off, you know, and it was just a matter of being early.
Yeah, I also want to say there were some scopes that we specifically chose not to do that would have been nice enhancements to the house, but we just had a feeling we wouldn't really see a return for those, so just made those choices.
Well, I think Rob and Wendy did a great job, and let's give them another round of applause.